On this next part, we're going to do some examples with negative numbers, and I challenge you to try these two on your own. So up top it said, decide up front if your answer should be positive or negative. Use a highlighter to help you remember the negative sign before you write your final answer. So you can use a highlighter or you could just circle them. Either way is fine with me. I don't really care either way. I know that not all of you may have a highlighter handy, and so however you want to do that is fine. Then ignore the negatives while doing the division problem. Don't forget to add a negative sign back at the end if needed. So this answer is going to be negative, so I'm just going to put my equal sign with a negative sign. I know that this answer, a positive divided by a negative, is a negative, so I'm going to put equals a negative to try and help myself remember the negative sign with my answer so that I don't forget. Now I can ignore them and just do my long division. 62 and 44/100ths divided by 7. If a decimal's in the house, we raise it to the roof. And so I'm going to do that right away. 7 cannot go into 6, but it does go into 62 8 times. 8 times 7 is 56. When I subtract, I get 6, bring down my 4. 7 goes into 64 9 times, and 9 times 7 is 63. When I subtract, I get 1 and bring down my 4. 7 goes into 14 2 times, and 2 times 7 is 14. When I subtract, I get 0. And so negative 62 and 44/100ths divided by 7 is negative 8 and 92/100ths. Again, I can estimate to see if my answer seems reasonable. 62.44 that is being divided by 7, so this is close to negative 63 divided by 7. A negative divided by a positive is a negative. And 63 divided by 7 is 9. 8 and 92/100ths is very close to 9, so negative 8 and 92/100ths is my answer and makes sense. For my next problem, I've got 82 and 8/100ths divided by 27. Again, I'm going to ignore the negative and just put it with my answer. If a decimal's in the house, we raise it to the roof. And I'm going to think of 27. 27 is so close to 25 that I'm going to kind of use groups of 25 and what I know about quarters to help me here. So 25 goes into 82. Well, when I think about quarters, again, I've got 25, 50, 75. It might go in 3 times. It might not because it is a little bit bigger. So I'm going to try 3 times, I guess. And 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. So just barely goes in 3 times. 82 minus 81 is 1. Bring down my 0. This is where things get tricky. 27 goes into 10 0 times, so we have to put that it goes in 0 times. And then 0 times 27 is 0. I can subtract, and 10 minus 0 is 10. Bring down my 8. And now again, I'm going to be thinking about my quarters. I've got 25, 50, 75, 100, so I'm thinking about 4 groups for 27. So 4 times 7 is 28, 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. When I subtract, I get 0, and so my answer that I'm getting is negative 3 and 4/100ths. When I ask myself if my answer makes sense, again, I'm going to think about quarters and money. 82 is close to 75 divided by close to negative 25. 25 would go into 75 about 3 times, or exactly 3 times, and a negative divided by a positive is a negative. So I'm thinking my answer should be about negative 3, and it is. So it seems reasonable and checks to make sense. So again, when we're dividing with negatives, just keep in mind that your answer needs to show the right sign, but otherwise we just ignore it and divide and use our long division skills as we normally do.